Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece episode 926. And okay, so first off, and it's a weird thing to start on, but as when I started watching this episode, and when I turned on this episode, and as I was like watching the opening as I always do, the back half of this opening with Luffy like breaking free of his prison and fighting Kaido, it really felt different. Like I think they might have changed. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think they might have changed the animation slightly in that moment where Luffy breaks free to fight Kaido. It's either that or they just shortened it, but something really felt different with the opening this time around. Like I said, I think they might have either shortened it or changed the animation somewhat, but yeah, something definitely felt off. Felt a little different this week. I'm not sure why. And and since I'm talking about the opening, I may as well take this time to say that this week was kind of one of those where there were many great moments to the episode, but as far as judging it as a whole, it did feel like one of those safer ones in terms of art and animation. But at the same time, you won't hear me complaining either since as I said that there were many, even though the episode as a whole could be considered maybe a little hit and miss with art and animation. Uh, there were still many great moments I think of art and animation as well. Um, so and to top it off, I'm not going to be complaining either because even before this we basically got pretty much we got two amazing episodes before this, and for what we got this week again, it was still pretty good. Um, Plus it's not like plus I think it's kind of one of those things where I can kind of understand if there were any if it wasn't all good because the thing is there weren't, aside from the fight of Robin versus the prince of Robin versus the prince own Iwabanshu, there weren't like any real big moments that required things to be like to have like top tier art and animation like the last 2 weeks. So yeah, as a whole, art and animation, it was basically playing it a little safer compared to the last 2 weeks, but it was still pretty good. Um, with that being said, though, the episode pretty much picks up where it left off with Robin engaging the Prince Orochi Oniwabanshu in a very brutal combat. And while it was very intense display of the Oniwabanshu's abilities, it was also pretty much clear Robin herself wasn't going to die. So to find out it was a flower clone wasn't all that surprising. However, with that said, even under those circumstances of her escaping, one thing I do appreciate is how, again, despite Robin escaping, there is still this element of urgency and a little bit of dread with how, even though she escaped, it still doesn't. Even though she escaped that confrontation, she basically still didn't fully escape be from being didn't escape the watchful eye of the Oniwabanshu, and how they're still like that they were still like around, and she needed to be act a lot more covertly because of that. Um, and because of that, it actually because of that, it was actually used as a means to showcase Robin's skill as a covert spy under pressure, and how if she made one wrong move, it would be over for her. Because of that, this was without a doubt a Robin episode, and it took full advantage of basically showcasing pretty much all of her abilities. And I know there are a lot of people who basically want Robin to just want Robin to have her moment again, and I'm with them. But honestly, I think it's within these smaller moments that we have to appreciate even more, because just with Robin having spotlight like this, I think is almost just as important as her when she's fighting someone, honestly, because we have to remember that while Robin is a capable fighter, at the end of the day, she is her skills are definitely more of that of a spy for sure. So it would make sense that she would that majority of her something that would showcase her skills would be more on the covert level, I think. Um, and and the one piece of info we basically glean pretty much from that encounter, however, with the Oniwabanshu, is that by Robin assuming the title of basically of Ushimitsu Kozo, we learn that the thief in question has already been to the flower capital tonight, and it's one of those small revelations that is even more painfully obvious looking back, because it tells us that the thief would have to be someone who's within the vicinity of the flower capital to pull it off so quickly and efficiently. And yeah, and yeah, if there's anything this episode showcased is how much of a bumbling fool Orochi is when he lets his guard down. But I keep having to remind myself that the whole bumbling nature of Orochi's character is only one side to him, and it's when he has his guard up, which is where he's at his most dangerous, and the part of him that infuriates me the most. We haven't seen him at his most antagonistic yet, and that's the part where, yeah, I'm definitely gonna lose my shit for sure. And actually, let's talk Kyoshiro more specifically, because his brief little glance at Orochi, because just in that one exchange of Kyoshiro looking at paying it staring Orochi down while he tells his little story about the Yakuza 9. You can tell there's animosity there, even very deep-rooted hatred, more likely. But and the thing with Kyoshiro's small involvement and whatnot in this episode is it's a situation where I don't know if that in itself is too much of an is how much of it is like is pretty much a situation of basically being pretty much a little overtly obvious now to anime onlys of who Kyoshiro actually is, because on top of that, I don't think the little tease in the opening really helped any, but it's it's one of those things where when it comes to scenes with Kyoshiro now, I have to really judge it on okay, how much of this is being an obvious illusion, and how much are anime onlys already picking up as to who Kyoshiro actually is. It's one of those things where I judge little scenes like that because you almost gotta wonder if it's a little too obvious to people now of who Kyoshiro might be. But yeah. So now, side note before moving on, Chopper and O-Tama's little ninja battle training in this episode was by far the most, if not the most adorable things I've seen in One Piece, and I think it's I'm pretty sure that was an anime only scene, but even if it wasn't, that was one of those things where I could actually even see that in the manga if it wasn't. So it was a very quick and simple scene, but honestly it just showed that that was kind of freaking adorable. Just seeing these two little, just seeing a little mini reindeer, and a little kid just fighting using as ninjas. It's it's just freaking adorable. I couldn't help myself. With that said, things just went from bad to worse with Big Mom washing up on shore near our small group of heroes. And obviously the big thing to talk about in this episode is that just based off those last few seconds in the episode, it's clear that Big Mom has amnesia, and I guess you could say it's basically a very lucky break that she doesn't know who she is, which could work to the Straw Hats' advantage, but at the same time, you know that's only going to last for so long before the situation inevitably ends up turning south for them. And the only like glimmer of hope is that even if Big Mom regains her memory, it turns into an unlikely ally situation. But even that isn't clear whether that's going to be the case or not in the manga. So right now, I think we just have to operate under the assumption that our hero, until something like formative happens, we just have to assume that our heroes have got a real handful with two Yonko. Also, Chopper, I commend your bravery, but even passed out, you still wouldn't be able to kill Big Mom. Like, seriously, bro, that ain't happening. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.